Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at Amplitude. So we got an early copy of this due to me backing the game on the Kickstarter, so feel free to disregard my opinion, but at least you can check out the game ahead of time for its January 5th release on the PS4. I don't believe it's going to be releasing on Vita or anything like that. Uh, This is going to be a Sony exclusive because the property itself is a Sony IP. Amplitude, I believe Amplitude was loaned out to Harmonix to do the Kickstarter and all that. That's pretty. It's great that they were able to make this because the Kickstarter did not look like it was going to work out for them early on. So yeah, here we got quick play campaign. Campaign's like a little 15 song thing that is it's pretty neat, especially as sort of a quick tutorial, I guess. Even though they do throw you into a tutorial when the game starts. Has a little bit of a story. Yeah, seek to awaken a comatose patient. Through playing this game, this music game, which kind of merges the whole game developer aspect of them in their original like music education focused. So here's all the songs I have unlocked. All these 15 are from the campaign itself, and you unlock these three from beating each section of songs. And these other ones here is just play songs. Play one more and I unlock this one. I probably got something here. It's like 3 more songs for that one. They got a lot of artists here. C418, I believe, is the artist. Did a lot of the music for Minecraft, which is some really good stuff. More mellow stuff. Insomniac Games has something here. Jim Guthrie of the Sword and Sorcery, and some other stuff. Darren Korb, that name sounds familiar. Symbian Project is, I believe, a Harmonix house band. There's some other stuff. I don't believe this is the whole soundtrack. I believe there's more stuff. I don't know if it's going to be available in different difficulties or what. So yeah, let's hop in here. Pick out a cool song. So yeah, if you're able to actually watch this, it probably means YouTube's Content ID stuff. Let's hop into Cryptech. This is from Danny Baranowski from the Crypt of the Necrodancer soundtrack, which is a really good song. So yeah, there's multiplayer in this. No online multiplayer. That was the first stretch goal after it got funded, and unfortunately did not make that. It just barely eked out a bit over the main game getting funded, which is awesome, but unfortunately for people that wanted online multiplayer, but yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah, that Kickstarter had an interesting arc.
Supply.
People were trashing it right from the start.
Cleanse.
Yeah, so we got power-ups, much like the original game. If you're not familiar with the original game, it is basically like this. It's like a musical spinning the plates. Sort of all these different tracks from this song.
Sedate.
Energy.
Energy.
We're gonna do the vocals here. Vocals, synth, guitar, bass, drums, all various parts that are necessary. I just started that. The sedate power up that slows things down a bit, which helps in the more hectic. I really like that they're really flexible about these power ups. So like there are power ups right after the section I was completing, so they give you that. That's pretty good. Uh, so you're switching between these tracks. For the current control scheme I have, the D-pad switches over to the next available in either direction. I'm pushing it.
Sedate.
But the right stick goes over one, sort of overrides that sort of function. So if you want the sort of original sort of style of movement, that's a way to do that.
Flow.
Flow is a weird thing. It's like the freestyle stuff from Amplitude. It's never explained how it actually works, so I'm kind of baffled by it. And so because I couldn't get over to that vocal track, the vocals just stop. Play them. These parts of the song disappear from the song as it's being played. So it's a really cool kind of build up for these different tracks. It's pretty cool.
Energy restored.
And cleanse lets me just say, hey, give me credit for this this track and get rid of it for a while. And there are a couple others. I unlocked one right at the end of the campaign that I don't really know what it's about, so there's one for multiplayer. They don't really explain it too well. Outside like the first two, which is cleanse and sedate, the rest are all kind of, it just gives me stuff. I'm hitting any of the notes and it's like doing stuff for that, but it doesn't really explain it or make it clear what is actually going on there. It's the end of the song. And your blaster goes flying off into the sunset. So yeah, we got different leaderboards, rivals, and people on your friends list. I don't know what the rivals, who these people are, why they're my rivals. That's weird. And so it tells you like how your dude be compared to your previous stuff. And rates you probably 0 to 3. If you fail, it's a 0, I'm guessing.
Discovered.
Okay, we got a new song, Crystal, that we saw earlier. Let's hop out real quick. I unlocked something for beating the campaign, which was announced a couple days ago. Frequency mode. So this essentially turns the track into a tunnel. I don't believe it's as tight of a tunnel as in frequency, but so it'll be probably something similar. So here's sort of the controls. I have right dominant C as the default, which I believe basically means you can play with one hand on the right side of the DualShock 4 for the most part. I can just hit the face buttons for each of those three, or you can do the shoulder buttons. You can also do a variety of others. I'm just going to scroll through these so you can sort of look at them and sort of figure out. Yeah, this is sort of similar to Rock Band Blitz. If you're familiar with that game. Sort of upper hand. So keep it on this because this is what I'm used to here. Audio calibration stuff if you think that's out of whack a little bit. Interstitials, I'm not sure exactly what that is. I think it might be more for the campaign. I don't know. So let's hop back into quick play. Let's check out that song we unlocked. Move up to intermediate, sort of see how that goes. Album George and Jonathan 3. I don't know who George and Jonathan is. The song sounds alright. So there, yeah, if you're familiar with the original Amplitude, this soundtrack is mainly sort of techno, electronica, that sort of stuff. Uh, let's actually play Freeze Pop because that's a classic harmonics band. Uh, I don't think there's any difference between these oh, I forget what they call them, blasters. Uh,
Chubs.
I was playing with Chubs during the campaign. One cool thing I like is you can press R3. Okay, there's our tunnel. Okay, it kind of is similar. I know there are people that prefer the frequency tunnel. Ah, crap. I can slow it down with sedate. So yeah, the power-ups kind of have a more medical kind of vibe to their names.
Day is at night, I think I play.
Sort of
Not in control,
sedate,
follows me home. Ghost empty faces as far as I see.
flow,
Dancing and look right through me. Are they?
Energy restored.
Phantoms.
yeah, this is a cool option that they have in here for people. Oh, you do have to at least give it a shot with the
Cleanse.
original style. This campaign does have some wild stuff going on in it.
But the room has no doors, I know.
They definitely play up some of the sorry about that. Some of the sort of artistic style of this stuff goes a bit nuts with it. I didn't pick one, so I messed up there big time.
Energy restored.
Let's do this because I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, I don't understand that. I'm gonna have to see if there's if they put up a manual or something, because that doesn't make any sense to me.
Flow.
The scratching stuff from the original Amplitude made sense. This doesn't.
Energy restored.
I kind of wish it told you what each track was. I guess you're supposed to eventually figure out purple's probably this, blue is this, green is the vocals.
Cleanse.
Did I mess that up? Is the end of the song. So yeah, they've definitely simplified the interface there for the HUD. It's just energy on the left. As you mess up, yeah, I didn't do too well, so I didn't deserve to get a good rating on that. As you mess up notes, it'll deduct energy. And then as you play well, it fills back up. There are tracks in the campaign that require you to have at least a certain multiplier to go through the gates. Sort of those little gates where it sort of gives us a little break for a few seconds. It says like, oh, have at least a 3 times multiplier. If you don't, it deducts like half of your health, so you have to build back up. So if you're playing harder, that's probably a much more damaging thing than if you're playing on the easier difficulties. I'm gonna turn off that freak mode. And we'll hop back in here. Play one more song. Let's go advanced. Hell, let's go to expert. Let's find at least a little bit of a slower song. Yeah, go with concept here. This is the first one you unlock.
Boxy.
Boxy. It's what I like if you press in R3, the right stick, it goes into like this first person mode, which is pretty cool. Oh man, those notes look crazy. Oh, what? I gotta try something else. Okay, let's try this.
Cleanse.
I messed it up. Oh, we got through that. And we sort of making it to the gates. Oh, wow, that's not fair. Oh, that's not fair either.
Energy diminishing.
Low on energy. I'm almost out of energy. And there we go. That's what happens when you play poorly. Let's try a normal difficulty and play something. Let's try that crystal song since we unlocked that. And so this is sort of the default one that they show. I believe if you backed at a certain tier, you got a special one. I'm sure it looks pretty cool, but and it's not really a big deal. They don't seem to unlock new ones. I was a little bit surprised with that. I figured there'd be. Yeah, if you like this style of game, but not necessarily the soundtrack, Harmonix has made a couple of similar games. They can't necessarily just do an Amplitude clone, call it something else, put it on other platforms, because Sony owns like the 3-note thing and some other aspects of the gameplay.
Sedate.
I used that at probably the wrong time. So that was one of the key things that during the campaign they had to keep answering questions about. But they did make, first was Rock Band Unplugged for the PSP, which is a really good sort of adaptation of Rock Band with this style of gameplay.
Cleanse.
Has a good bit of DLC too.
Sedate.
That was more 4 notes and just 4 tracks, obviously for the 4 Rock Band instruments. Because of that sort of change to the notes structure, it sort of blocked their ability to do much in the way of DLC and sort of do any sort of like cross-buy stuff with that. It's probably its biggest drawback is that you had to rebuy DLC. That was a shame, but the soundtrack was pretty good on its own. Uh,
Flow.
it's a shame that game never got to be backwards compatible for the Vita. And that they never released like a full digital version. It was always just like a sampler. Almost sort of like a free-to-play thing. Except it was like $5 or $10 instead of 30 or 40. They also made Rock Band Blitz, sort of went back to that well for one more attempt. And that did have support for all of the music. And I want to say that had 2 notes. I think that was the thing that people were irked by, is that
Flow.
it was kind of really simple in the controls department, even though the complexity of the songs varied depending on the song itself. But that had support for all of the DLC, and the game itself, if you bought it, was essentially a track pack, and the demo was kind of like a shell. So you could essentially play, with a couple thousand songs attached to that game, which is pretty cool, but they didn't necessarily have a great framework for that game. So they had like an unlocked system, and that just ran out pretty quickly if you played the songs you had. What's the next song here? This one we unlocked. Yeah, so this was a Amplitude song, I believe. Amplitude or Frequency, I think. It's one of the ones they announced later. Sort of saying, hey, we brought this back. I want to say it was, or it might have been, I forget what the band's name is, like Comptroller, something like that. Yeah, the soundtrack was supposed to be like maybe 20 songs or less, 15 to 20 songs. Maybe just what was in the campaign, maybe a handful of extras. But when they delayed it from, I think, late summer to January, they nearly doubled the soundtrack. That sort of stuff, sort of doubling down on the game itself, which was pretty cool. So yeah, that's Amplitude. The campaign's kind of cool. Thing here, you can sort of pick your blasters stuff and sort of restart it. Yeah, Wayfarer is an interesting thing to do here. Sort of the final song. So yeah, that's Amplitude. It is going to be out on January 5th for the PlayStation 4. I believe it's going to be $20. 30 something songs, I believe, about 30 songs. That's the main gist of what's here. They might be updating stuff later on. I don't know the full gamut of what their plans are for this game. Here's the full game. Sent it out early for backers that pledged enough. Multiplayer's in there. No online multiplayer, like I said earlier. That was the first stretch goal, and it did not make it. Yeah, pretty cool game to have come back, especially in the wake of all the Shenmue 3, Psychonauts 2, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, all that sort of crazy. We're bringing back a lot of the old stuff that you loved. And so here's another one of those games. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys again next time.